Ooh. Ooh. It's your favourite Fallout 3 character creation looking motherfucker. And I'm here to tell you that this new Jon Hopkins album is wonderful. It's fucking wonderful. So, Jon Hopkins, electronic producer, been at it for a long time. I only caught on to his work when he dropped Immunity. Well, about a year after Immunity came out, I discovered it. Because I wasn't quite as onto it with music. I wasn't as on it. And, man, 2013, that album came out. What a great friggin' album. Honestly, one of the better outsider house albums, I guess it was labelled as, micro house, electronic albums I've heard all decade. I haven't heard too many, but I've heard enough to know that Jon Hopkins really was doing something pretty special on that album. Open Eye Signal being one of the biggest highlights. And yeah, 5 years later, here we are, finally getting some new material from Jon Hopkins. And I've seen some people say this is kind of Immunity 2.0, or it's basically lesser of what that album did, but I've only seen a very small amount of people say this, and I've got to say I don't agree at all. I don't think this is anything too similar to Immunity to the point where you can't see the progression of Jon Hopkins in 5 years. I know not all artists progress a huge amount in a long amount of time. They may come back and do the same sort of thing years later, do the same sound that they've been doing, but I don't think Jon Hopkins is doing that at all here. This album is brimming with textures. It is just so lush in its sound. Everything that he's doing on this album is just unbelievable. I feel like I can feel the music in the weirdest way. This album somehow makes me want there to be this creation in which you're in this darkened room and you're wired up and you've got an album playing, and then everything that's going on with the music, you feel in your body, little different feelings kind of come through. And I just want that, because I feel like this album gives you that in some ways. There are so many tracks that just give you these feelings everywhere. It's like it transcends music at points, to be honest. Honestly, it's pretty incredible. And so many tracks feel incredibly transcendent too. They just go and go and go, and they're reaching higher and higher and higher, to the point where you can't even see what is going on, or you can't even fathom what it is anymore. What? Jon Hopkins? Is that you? In the light? Is that you? The speed of tracks like Everything Connected that they go at is honestly cosmic. That is the only word I can think of. It's just time traveling through space, and that is exactly what this album is. It's just traveling, just constantly traveling through all these different parts of the universe. I feel pretentious as fuck right now, but that's all I've got. It's the album cover is what this album represents in a way. It's you're just looking into the sky, and the further you look, the further the music kind of travels, and you see it, but then you lose sight of it because you just don't know what it is anymore. At points it's just incredibly pulsating and thrilling. It really just takes you on a ride, on a journey, and even though it's very difficult to describe the music, I certainly know the feelings it gives me throughout. Then there are tracks like Emerald Rush, which feel like an actual cocaine rush. This song is just cocaine. It's the part where it picks up and kicks in. It's literally a rush to the head. It's just oh, whoa. It's fucking crazy the way this sounds. Holy shit. I can't believe how he was able to produce this. It's unreal. It is honestly unreal. One of the best tracks I've heard all year. Easily gonna make my best songs list. Just wow. Just absolutely captivating. The way it changes up as well. It just switches up every now and then. Kind of like a Blank Mass track in a way. I guess you could say. It just switches up every now and then, and each time it does, it just keeps you wanting more, you know? It keeps you wanting to see where it's gonna go next. It has a ridiculously good groove to it as well. Like, I feel like people that like house music, you know, like the kind of like mainstream sounding house music, would get on board with this too, because I think there's a certain element of accessibility that I think people would enjoy, honestly. Like I've said, you know, every track just keeps you moving, you know? It never changes in a way that makes you go, you know, I kind of want it to pick up the pace, or I'm a little bit bored now. Everything feels like it's in its right place, like everything is there, and you don't want to miss anything, and you don't want it to stop. And even when after an hour has gone by and you get to the track Recovery, and it just like, it's such like a twinkly moving song, and there are these little like vibrations like in the background that come through, and when you're just closing your eyes and it's like late at night and you're hearing this, it just feels like you're entering something else, like you're entering a different realm, like you're just about to go into a dream, and it's just like, this is the soundtrack to it. You know what, the more I think about this album, the more I talk about it, and the more I just think about all these feelings and the rushes and the different soundscapes throughout this thing, the more I realize this is actually much better than I initially thought. I'm gonna do it again, guys. I'm gonna do it again. We've had an electronic album get an A earlier on in this year, back in February, I believe it was. AAL, Against All Logic, which is a Nicholas Jar pseudonym side project, and I'm gonna do it again. Jon Hopkins, Singularity, A. Fucking amazing. Sublime. Subliminal. Sublime. Wow. Jon Hopkins, honestly, is a wonderful producer, mastermind, one of the best that we'll see in this generation, and I hope many people go into this album and think the same, honestly. I don't think many other electronic albums come close to this that I've heard, and if there are, then let me know what I've missed. But for what I'm hearing and the incredible like passion that goes into this album, I can't help but think this is an A. And not quite perfect, because, you know, it's not an A star, but it is near there. It's close. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I do love this album if you haven't already noticed. I hope you love it too. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Subscribe again. Yeah, that is all. That is all. Have a good day. Check out this album, please. Go. Have a good day. Listen to the album. Bye.